Broadcast live.
Nah, Mama Blondie. What's up? Can I move these?
Okay, yeah. No
Literally
restrictions.
no
now.
restrictions. You know, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
See ya,
You?
nice to meet
Karabo.
you. You know, you're like an icon legend. You know, like you know what I mean? Out here in these streets, man. You know?
We're trying, I can say that.
Yo, you've done some incredible things, man. But I want to find out, where did all this start from? You know, this dream, this desire, and identifying that this is who you are.
Yeah.
I think everybody struggles with the journey of identifying, you know?
Oh, I'm
Bless
so
you.
sorry.
It's okay.
So the journey for me kind of started a little bit earlier than a lot of people would think. I'd always been that kid that like really enjoyed drawing. My mom always said like I preferred like drawing indoors and playing outdoors. So I always like had this creative thing about me and I was really drawn to it. And then through the years, like obviously, like growing up in Val, there wasn't a lot of like artistic examples that I could like look up to. So future was, you're gonna become like a doctor, a teacher, a lawyer. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. This whole art thing is like cute, but it's not gonna be a career or anything. But I remember like I also wanted that for myself because I was like, I don't want to live with my parents forever. You know, I want to help them out when I start working. So yeah, this creativity was always something that was at the back of my mind, but I was like focused on like being a doctor, and I actually wanted to be a reconstructive surgeon, believe it or not. I thought like I could...
You're going to tell me what that is just now.
It's like doing plastic surgery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's still art.
So I thought I could use the artistic side, the analytical side. It's gonna make me like a better surgeon. So that was the plan. Up until I was in matric and everything changed. I went to the open day of the open window, and it was in that moment when I was 18 that I decided that, no, I'm actually gonna change everything that I'd been working towards. And it was just like the curiosity that I had. It was the first time I'd seen like all the media that I'd consume. Like growing up, I was like TV kid, video games, all of that. And it was like, I finally saw how to make this media myself and then make it the way that I think South Africa deserves to consume it, in ways where like we're representing people authentically. We're showing like stories that are meant to be heard that we seldom see. And then it's also like us as Black people making those stories.
Yeah.
So I saw like there was a gap in that. And yeah, I was just like more curious and driven to like fulfill that gap rather than like go into surgery. I felt like that's a career that a lot of people will keep on going into. I don't think it's ever going to hit a dip or anything, but I felt like there was something missing in the creative industry, and yeah, I just felt like responsible to like do something about it. So yeah, at 18 everything changed, and yeah, it's been a roller coaster since.
So it was purpose driven more than just skill. It was like that purpose, just like, you know, there's this place, you know?
Yeah.
The kids from the Val, you know, they almost like unsuspicious, you know? But when they pop, they pop. You know, there's something there in the Val. The Val is like the Durban, but your guys are a little bit more articulate and, you know. Yeah. I mean, like it's always like there's this energy of creativity in the Val. A lot of people in the Val are behind the scenes in a lot of things that like a lot of people are seeing in the front. So you only find a few speedsters who are like in the forefront, but like a lot of people in the Val are actually making things happen behind the scenes. For a lot of people in the forefront, I've noticed.
Which is actually amazing because like, if you look at the Val like 20 years ago and now, completely different place.
Yeah.
Like it was tough to find some creativity there, but then I think now it's like with a little bit of a Google search or hearing from other people, there's more talk around that. And I think people are like more exposed to it. So be careful, Val, we're coming.
You know, there's this thing of like creating beautiful work and then there's this thing of building a brand. You know, I think a lot of creatives are in the middle of creating the works, particularly designers, and are struggling with building the brand. You know, what were some of the steps that you took to kind of create the work while building the brand at the same time? You know,
for me, it was quite organic when it came to like the work that I created and then making that a brand. The style that you see me illustrating in is actually like a style that I've been drawing in for a long time. Like since high school, I feel like it was nurtured there. And then in university, while people were still like figuring out their styles, I felt like quite confident in the one that I was already working in. So then I had like those years to like refine it a little bit more. So I felt like at an early age or at an early time in my career, I got to figure out my style. And then what I felt was missing was, what am I going to do if I don't go into an agency? I remember like the reason why I wanted to study this was I always thought like I really want to preserve the African aesthetic, and that was something that was in my mind quite a lot. And I couldn't find at the time an agency whose focus was around the same thing. So I thought the only way to do it is then to do it myself. But it's like, as much as you are an artist, if you're going into the freelance world, you also become a business person.
Yeah.
So there were times where I was like watching a lot of business documentaries and trying to educate myself about the side of things that I don't know, because I never thought I was gonna be like a businesswoman. That was never the plan. I'm
shout
like the first.
Shout out to you, and you are like,
I'm like the first business person in my whole family, so it's not even like I got to see how that's done.
Yeah.
So I watched like some documentaries and got like something good from like a bunch of like different documentaries and books, and also like people around me, just like hearing their stories. And one golden thread that I realized is when you're starting out, if you're a company, let's say like a media company, you can't beat Netflix at Netflix's game. You need to be able to bring something completely different that's gonna bring people specifically to you. So that was something that I realized with people that were starting out. They did something that no one else in the industry was doing. And then it just kind of linked with where my interests were. I wasn't seeing as many people that looked like me, come from a similar background as me, creating art about people that look like me. So like becoming that representation of like what Black culture and contemporary Black culture looks like within like Gauteng, and then more broadly became South Africa. I was trying to tell that story authentically in media. So I realized that that was something that was missing, and then it was really lucky that that was something I was interested in, and I've pretty much been pursuing the same thing since.
So it's intentional though. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, this is, and I say this because it's funny that I do meet up with you, because I was telling you earlier on about like one of the designers that works with us, and he's been with us for a long time, like, you know, we were having a conversation, and he was just talking about how he wants to grow, you know, and his explanation of growing was that I need to be like in a bigger agency, you know. It's one of those conversations, you know. And I'm like, all right, cool, you know. I get it, you know. But you know what's gonna happen when you're in a bigger agency? It's gonna, like, you know, it's gonna be a case where if you have the limitation of our creativity, as in like what we do is Slikour Live, where we do anything that we feel like we do, and everyone contributes because we move with the culture, right? I said, when you do work in an agency, you're gonna be limited to the brands, what the brand says is you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, and you were saying exactly that, you know? And then I was like, who are the people that you think are doing things? And he was like, Karabo. And I was like, what is it about Karabo, you know? And then he started breaking down what every art person does. He says, you know, I think he must have mentioned Mason, maybe not pronounce his name, but he mentioned a couple of people and he said, you see, this is the style. They kind of, and I said, you know, those styles are built off them. It's almost like the independent rap game. You gotta literally like be consistent with your style.
Exactly.
And then when you're consistent with your style, people need to buy into your style.
Exactly.
And I think that's really the challenge with like a lot of designers. They get lost in trying to feed what like popular culture wants, and they don't kind of build their own style, and they never grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said, being a designer is like being a house DJ versus being a rapper. I'll tell you why. When you're a house DJ, you gotta listen to everything.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? In fact, when you're just a DJ, you gotta listen to everything. When you're a rapper, you gotta listen to yourself and feel yourself.
Exactly.
Because that's how you kind of go, yo, I'm the shit. Right? You know,
Yes.
When you're a designer, you got to see everything. When you're a DJ, you got to listen to everything and go, okay, this is going to work for the crowd. This is going to work. When you're a designer, you got to like do all your side shit because that's how you build your skill.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's incredible. So tell me how you, that's my analogy of
No,
it.
it's an interesting one. And I kind of see what you're saying about it. So I'm like, okay, now that you explain it, I'm like, it's kind of the same. And like, it's not to say that one is lesser than another. It's just, it depends on where you want your destination to be with your journey.
Exactly.
And then that will determine like where you start out now. And for me, I felt if I actually wanted to bring proper change and like real change that's gonna be impactful, I cannot create under the limitations that agencies would put around me. So I needed to be able to create fully and freely, and then also have like the luxury of people coming to you for something that's specific. Like when I was looking at people that I thought was super successful, it wasn't even in my industry. So I would look at comedians, I would look at actors, I would look at writers, I would look at playwrights as well. And I always realized that there's something specific that people go to them for. If you look at Kevin Hart does Kevin Hart consistently. And I think in doing something that other people aren't doing consistently, it puts you in a great position for the potential to be doing the art that you love, and then people employing you specifically for that. Like another person is Ed Sheeran. There was no reason for him to use that very small guitar. He knew that that was going to draw people's eye to him. He knew that this was going to already create a lot of curiosity, and then he could use the skill to then like bring them in. So I'd look at like little things that people would do, and that would be like their thing. And in me developing my style, like I use zigzags a lot. So even if I don't sign my name on an artwork, people would be able to see like in the zigzags that I use. I use like side profile faces consistently, and pretty much the only kind of people that I draw are from the side. And that's just from like finally being able to see representation from like the traditional barbershop signage. I remember like getting my hair done, and like when I was little, just growing up. Thank you so much. Just like growing up and seeing that was something that really drew my eye and that I thought was so beautiful. But it was the question, why am I not seeing that in like contemporary media? Like I only see it like where I grew up, and that was it. But I never see it in like TV. I never see it on billboards. I never see like everyday people that would get their hair done. I never see them acting. So I was like, I'm gonna make it my mission to then show like everyday people and the everyday things that I think are beautiful, and then show it in media as well.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
That's incredible. As we speak, I'm almost like, you gotta decide in your life whether you, what you want. Like you said, none of them are lesser. You know, you're either gonna be, let's just say if you're artist in an agency world, you're either gonna be a contributor in a greater thing. Yeah. Or you're either gonna be a voice to start a thing. And you like
and both need each other, actually.
Yeah. I mean, they both feed off each other. Because even if I'm a contributor in a greater thing, the contributor in a greater thing might just wanna get some representation from a voice
Exactly.
Because, it's difficult to break down your brand kind of CI and the positioning, blah, blah. But sometimes your brand wants to literally like integrate with the voice, you know what I mean? And you've really found that niche pretty well, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Tell me about Vuse, your relationship with Vuse, and it makes sense with all the colors.
You see it?
Yeah. How do you choose your partnerships and your relationships, particularly like Vuse?
I think when I started my journey, I realized like because of the responsibility that I felt I had to represent well, I needed to be extremely picky with the kind of brands that I choose to work with.
Yeah.
So I try and like use the formula around if that brand has been working towards the same things I've been working towards, if a brand is trying to work to those things, if a brand is looking at experimenting and doing something new that they haven't done before, then I think our paths can cross and I can actually collaborate. So with Vuse, on the other hand, we had this instant where it almost met all the criteria. So it was a brand that was interested in doing something new. It was a brand that was like focused around creativity and building creativity. And it was a brand that was open towards hearing like different kinds of voices, like what a Black female from Val would be creating in conjunction with them. So it made like all of my interests, all of my peaks, and then it seemed like very natural to then decide to collaborate with them, because I think when we can already understand each other on what we want the end result to be, then the creating process and the collaborating process goes a lot easier. So yeah, it was kind of like, I think our destinies and journeys aligned in that sense, and that made me really excited to then be able to partner with them to like help them in that sense.
You got other collaborations, like I know there was the night collaboration, and I was like, that firstly is crazy, just as a side note, I mean, when you got that call though, because when I look at you, it's part of your like DNA, like you colorful.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah, that for me, that I mean, when you kind of got that call and you're like, yo, I mean, what were your thoughts,
Like, it's really tough to remember because it was all like just a blur, because I was like filled with so much disbelief.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a call from an American number. I saw like +191 something, and I was like, I don't think I know anyone there, but okay, hello.
Yeah.
And then he introduced himself, told me that he's from Nike. I was like, it's not the kind of call that I expect. I'm just a little bit confused. He kind of told me the idea that they had and wanted to meet up as soon as possible. And I was just like, wait, this thing that, not that I've always wanted, because I didn't know that illustrators could go into sneaker making.
Yeah.
But like you said, this thing that was part of my DNA, like Air Force Ones and Nike has always been a part of my journey, even though like I'm not thinking I'm trying to create work for them, create clothing for them. I just always associated like the Air Force One shoe with like Black excellence.
Yeah.
I'd always been like inspired by Black American culture.
Yeah.
And when I look at like hip hop culture, when I look at like Black fashion, Black sitcoms, even Black sportsmen as well, I always noticed that like the Air Force One was always a consistent feature.
Yeah.
So then I try to put that into then what I was doing. So everything that I did, I always had the Air Force One as like a consistent feature. So this thing that was just a part of my DNA, I get to merge even more with it by telling my story on it. Like, first in Africa to be doing that, like, and then like have a Black female to be the one saying like, first collection, it's coming from us.
Oh wow.
So it took me a while to just like fathom what was happening, but when I knew it was real is when they sent me the open file of the die cut of an Air Force One. So seeing how an Air Force One is flat, I was like, oh, this is happening. oh, this is happening.
After NDAs and
Oh, yes. Of course. But yeah, it's still so crazy. It's happened, it's been a few years now since they released, and it's still like unbelievable that happened.
Are they still in the market?
No.
Do you have any space?
Within a day, everything was gone. In South Africa, 30 minutes, everything was gone. And then...
Where did they distribute them now?
They were online. So everyone was able to buy them online. And yeah, it did super well here at home, in the US, in Tokyo. I was just like shocked at all these places that I've never even been. I get to be there in a way because my art's there.
Wow, yeah.
So no, they were gone quick.
So you don't even have your own?
No, I have my own that I wear personally.
So you need to break in your home to get it.
Pretty much, all my brothers. Not that I'm putting them in danger, but something that was important to me, they taught me about that culture.
Yeah.
And they fostered that around me. They're my 3 older brothers.
Oh, wow. So that must have been a family win.
Exactly. That was a family one for sure. That was a family one. And I had to just make sure like they at least have one page.
Ah, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that automatically, whether we like it or not, or whether you like it or not, that collaboration has already made you iconic.
Oh, nothing's ever been the same since.
Yeah,
I mean,
because how many people could say they've done that? You know, with that type of collaboration with an Air Force Ones. You know,
their best-selling sneaker silhouette.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, that makes you iconic. Did I ask for my autograph?
Did you ask me?
For my autograph from...
Oh, and my friend who still does autographs. We do a young selfie, a little
video. Because I can't get a sneaker.
Unless you have the sneaker and then I can sign it for you. But other than that, just like young video together.
Yeah, I'm not like in sneaker and fashion culture like that. So obviously, I got wind of that when that shit was sold out. I got wind of who did it. Yeah. Real?
It was on Hypebeast, Hype, like Complex Sneakers. All of them like wrote about it.
You're great. You're great. You. Straight out the Val.
Imagine. From Val to Versace, my friend.
Tell me about that.
I actually got to go to Miami and then visited Giovanni Versace's house. So like his mansion in Miami, I was in there.
I mean, that's incredible. Yo, Karabo, firstly, it's great meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
What an honor. I'm great to be alive in a time where people like you are alive. I'm being 100 with you.
I appreciate that.
And I wish you all the success, man, with all your collaborations, with Vuse, with your business. I know you're an inspiration because like I told you about the guy we work with, who's so full of himself. And but you a huge inspiration for a lot of other designers. And,
thank you.
And I think the story of how design is not enough, you know, how self-confidence and having conviction in your creativity, because you know design is a design. Anyone can design, but to create something that like is an add-on. You know, I don't think there's anything new in design, but there's something that like is missing, and because that's what you build from. You build from something that's missing.
Exactly.
You know, that is what builds brands, and the consistency to constantly try, even if people don't get it. How many times did people? I mean, people never got it immediately?
No. Of course not. Like, I grew up in Val, then went to high school in Potch. Like, I was always seen as like the strange kid, and like my parents didn't really understand, my brothers didn't really understand, but I just felt like I was onto something, and I just felt that support isn't necessary as long as I believe in myself. Wow. The support will come. So yeah, through the years, like convincing my parents, obviously it was a devastating thing to hear that your daughter wants to become a visual communicator. What is that? Dipopai. I remember like my mom's friend was like, oh, kitty Popeye. I'm like, no, no. But what's been like one of the most fulfilling is like watching people's mindsets change.
Yeah.
So my parents are like the biggest advocates for like listening to the passions that your children have and letting them explore that, especially if it's something creative. So my parents are always talking to other parents that have similar positions as they do with kids that want to go into something creative, but parents aren't usually knowing too much about that. It's not seen as like the guaranteed profession. So they speak to parents all the time. They are the biggest advocates, and seeing their mindsets change from like not believing in a creative career to believing in it. And then so much so as to go and tell other people. That's been like one of the most rewarding parts. And I think if my parents, as stubborn as they were able to like change their mindset about that,
and then the advocates also.
Yeah, then I believe like we're going to be seeing a lot more opportunities for people going into creative industries, but then having the support of family as well.
What did your parents do?
Both of them were teachers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my dad was a professor in university, and then my mom was a primary school teacher.
Wow. Shoot, that must be been a hard pill to swallow.
Yep.
That's been a hard pill because they know the books that you could read.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, we know what you could be reading. It's one thing when your parents are engineers and they just want you to be an engineer. But imagine a professor and they're like, yo, we know the subjects,
exactly.
Though. Come on, now. Don't play us.
And my mom even got her master's in psychology.
Yeah.
So she had like 2 degrees. She did like education, did that, then went to psychology. So she's like the most brilliant mind ever. And I always tell her like, it's that brilliant mind that then helped me. Like you showed me like what's possible, like from growing up how you did, not a privileged family or anything, getting like 2 degrees, same as my dad, not a privileged family, and being able to like put yourself through that. You guys then inspired me and like were the blueprint for, I think anything is possible. It's just in their minds, they thought I would take it to the medicine side, but they really showed me like, if you work extremely hard, then anything is possible. And then I just put that into practice with my career. If I work extremely hard, always trying to reinvent myself, always trying to research as much as possible, like staying also teachable, never feeling like I made it, don't need to learn anything else, everyone must listen to me, it's not like the characteristics of someone that's gonna do great in the world. So like staying teachable was something that I always tried to do. And then, yeah, it worked.
Next thing, we gonna build a school. You gotta build
Are you in my mind? People always ask me like what the next steps are. They ask if I'm going to be starting an agency. And that seems to be one that a lot of people like suggest. And I always say, I don't think I have the desire for an agency. It would be strange for me to not go in the direction of an agency and then build an agency, encouraging more people to go in the direction of an agency. It just seems backwards in how I'm approaching things. So actually I want to build like a creative university that's centered around telling authentic African stories. We'll have one here, South Africa, have one in Lesotho, Ghana, Nigeria, Congo, Chad, everywhere.
I just felt that. Like in the conversation, I just felt that, you know? That's what a creative entrepreneur does, you know? You want to teach more.
Exactly.
You wanted more people to go find the surface of their differentiation.
Exactly,
you know?
And like nourish that, encourage them, give them like as much of a head start, and then get to watch their journey unfold. And I come from like teaching genetics, so it makes sense.
Yo, when you open your first school, like invite me, you know?
Definitely. Definitely.
So you're serious about that university?
Oh, dead serious. Dead serious. It's coming, give me some time. When I have a few more grays, we'll see it.
I love it. It's needed. It's necessary. On your own, whether you know or not, through the various energies that you've met in a generation also, you've moved the world of design and the world of creativity for people that look like you. And I know a lot of people have done this. For people that look like you, the way you dressed, the people that come from places like you, you've moved it 100 years forward,
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
I promise you, you've moved it 100 years forward, if not 50. And I say that because you come from a place, the Val, where think about Katlehong, think about Fosterers, think about KwaZulu-Natal, think about Eastern Cape, think about Cape Town, think about all the Black kids who literally are, because by default we're creative.
Exactly, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the struggle about us is about all of us as Black creatives, is about like infiltrating the world on our own terms. Do you know? We can.
And that's something that we were robbed of a lot. So I feel like it's time now.
But even so, even when we've been given the opportunity, we don't get the support of the established world because they want us to conform.
Exactly.
Do you understand? So when I say you've pushed it 100 years, you're an entrepreneur who's working with companies like Vuse and every other company we can mention, and who's done it your way. And you're a Black female, right? You're a minority in many aspects. You know what I mean? If it was a male, it would have been 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's true.
A woman, everything that a black man does in the world and even here is double times harder than it's harder. Then when a black female does it, it's double
Of that.
the male. That's why it's fee. There's an extra fee to pay,
Yeah.
female, right?
I like it.
Yeah,
Love it.
So when I say what you've done for our generation is definitely like 100 years forward in the world of visual creativity and visual communication.
Thank you.
And it might be snubbed as it's just another design. No, it's not. It's not. You've really, really, really pushed the envelope for a generation, because before you, there wasn't even an aspiration to collaborate with Air Force One.
We didn't even know that could happen. Like the access, it just seemed so far from
I'm talking about kids from
reality.
Val, kids from Limpopo, kids from Katlehong, kids from Nongoma. I'm talking about before you, they'd never seen that with anybody. You know what I mean? So that's why you gotta understand that role. And that's why there has to be a school. Because a school literally goes, how do we create more
Exactly.
of the Karabos?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's gonna add the support, it's gonna add the encouragement. It's, like I said, like giving them like the head start. That's what I'm trying to do.
And with the partnerships you've created, if you've got a proper plan, they're gonna support you in Africa. If you're gonna go, you're talking about me, there's more of this. And I'm sure you've seen more people where you're like, yo, you gotta get, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you already got you already got people's ears in the world. It's just you having the proper plan and having the time to kind of go, okay, I'm gonna dedicate my time to giving, because you're giving us your creativity. You gotta like slow down your creativity and now give people the platform, right? That's a job on its own also. You gotta be at a point where you're like, okay, I've given enough. So you've already got the world's ear. So school is next for you.
School, definitely.
Oprah needs to be calling you up now.
Been waiting.
You're gonna be getting those calls.
Been waiting.
You just need to put it out in the universe when you're ready, and it's gonna happen for you.
I see it. I know it is.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
because what you've done is you've been chosen.
Chosen's an interesting way to put it.
Come on, don't even be humble about it and modest about it.
It's just interesting because I always think like there's way better illustrators than me out there, and like I'll create a work and I think like there's tons of people that could have done this probably even better, probably even faster, and then why didn't it happen for them? So maybe Chosen was then the reason why.
Listen, Karabo, not that I know any, but there's always somebody better. Always. But there's always one person who needs to walk apart for everyone else.
True.
Always one person that needs to walk apart for everyone else. So everyone else wakes up to it. It's not your power to make your job and your skill is not to make them wake up to it.
Yeah.
Your job is to be yourself. Your job is to let your ideas literally like happen, because your ideas, you've already like, you're almost like, you know, when they create machines, your presetting is literally like to make people see a bigger picture. That's your presetting without you actually working to do it. So the fact that everyone thinks your presetting is already school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's just that right now you just like, bit overwhelming, but how do I start? But your presetting is already there. Your whole life's presetting is going to be into opening, as long as you listen to your presetting. You don't have to think about it. You've been chosen for that. Other people's presetting is to build from that, is to make it look better.
Yeah.
You know, like you say, you know, and make people go, oh shit, these guys. But your presetting will always be like seeing forward. And the universe is going to allow you to do that.
I'm excited for it. Grand opening and you'll be there.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I'm excited for you. I always knew there was something special about you.
Is it?
Yeah. It's like, why doesn't this person even like me?
Why would you say that?
No, straight. This has been a pleasure. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I love this.
You know, this has been a pleasure. I think that we always talk about it. I always see your work, and it's like you've been in my world, you know? We even tried to work this year also. You
That's
know what I mean? But like I told you, you can't get away. There's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide.
I wasn't trying to run.
I need to get your energy too.
As if other people got there first.
I need to get your inspiration too. I need to be inspired by you too, so you can't get away, because I need the inspiration too.
Listen, this is lovely.
Yo.
This is lovely.
Vuse, man, these are the roots. Roots of connection.
And what's helpful is like brands being open to letting artists like tell their own story, because that connection together, I think it's going to be like the future of where brands should go. And that's actually where the focus is going to be. So like, it's just interesting that like everything from the Vuse device, the pods, to how they choose to market, I keep on seeing like evidence of this, like doing something new, doing something that hasn't been like seen before, and like being open to the artist telling their story through it. So we keep needing brands to do the same thing that Vuse is doing, so that there's more opportunity for people as well. Like it doesn't seem like there's only 10 chairs, but we have 100 people, so only 10 people are gonna make it, and that's it.
And also, Vuse literally got me an invite to the opening of the school.
This is also true. And like so organically just happening, so.
Yeah. Great meeting you.
Thank you, so nice meeting you too.
Wish you all the luck.
I'm gonna need it.
You are carrying a huge responsibility for Black women, for Black people in the creative space. You're already an icon.
Thank you.
And you're still young. Well, listen. Anyone younger than
my knees are saying something else.
Anyone younger than me is young, you know. And I just pray that you keep the same head. You know, keep the same head. That's all. Keep the same head, because
I'm happy with the one I have, so I'll keep it.
please do, because we better. It's time immediately when we can mainstream. You know, we'll mainstream music, we'll mainstream songs, whether it's amapiano, whether it's hip hop. But if we can start mainstreaming our visuals, you know, that's
the next step, and that's slightly harder.
But you have the job to encourage it. That's you carrying that. You know.
That's the plan.
Yeah, you know, so immediately when we mainstream the visuals and the way we also want to be seen.
Exactly.
Because that's how they've controlled us. We don't know how we want to be seen. And if you don't know how you want to be seen, you're going to accept anyway.
Exactly.
And you're gonna believe that, you know, one day you're gonna be weavy, one day you're gonna have long nails, one day you're gonna say, you know, afro, you know, because, you know, we're not controlling the narrative of how we want to be seen, you know? And that's why that's the hardest one. You don't need to hear a song. You don't need to see a song. You can hear it and it's your imagination goes, it's great. But visuals, if every kid in the hood can literally say, this is what we look like, then even the help we'll get will be the honest help.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
You so get it, my friend. You get it.
Of course, I'm part of the struggle. It's just that my job was to do it in the audio side of things.
Which is also tough in its own way.
Yeah, but I mean, you got all these kids that are doing it right now. You know, my job was to crack it for them so they could do it better.
And I love it now because the kids these days are starting so much earlier. So like they're getting all of the kinks out, learning like the software really early. So then I get excited for like when they're like in the industry fully and that's 24/7 what they do, what they're gonna be creating is gonna be wild.
Look, like that's why even when we were doing it, when we started this rap shit, it was like, commercially that is, it was like, I mean, you go, and I always go, you go POC, you go, I mean, they were doing it, they were starting it in their space.
Yeah.
So we could come and start it in a huger mainstream space. But it could always be done better. The kids today not only doing it better, they're doing it bigger because of the world of the internet.
Exactly.
You know, you are the first generation of like young people visually doing what they're doing, but you were born in a time where you could start bigger. Because, you know, we couldn't start at an Air Force One collaboration. That's like, you know, we were gonna start with like whoever was doing shoes, Lokshin culture.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Literally, you know what I mean?
It took me back.
You know, we had to start with Lokshin culture, Pro Kid, Lokshin culture, because those were our neighbors, right? It made sense. We understood each other. So the space of bigger was far-fetched. You are first generation, and your start is already bigger. You dig?
So then I'm expecting bigger from then the kids coming after. Imagine.
We're gonna be so powerful as people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I wish to see it. To be alive to see it.
Me too. Fam?
Power.
Power to you.
Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, it's dope. Okay, can they warm my pizzas? But she's an Olympic and it's
Broadcast live